Hey guys, welcome to another my bike collection video. This is video number 3. Thank goodness we made it through the boring road bike video. Hopefully you didn't fall asleep watching my boring road bike video because I almost fell asleep making it. And now we get to move on again to actually interesting bikes. So here we have my Surly Moonlander. I believe this winter will be my third winter on this fat bike. Before this fat bike I had a Surly Pug Ops, I believe, for about 2 winters. So I've been fat biking now, it's going to be for 5 years. So I've had plenty of experience. Let me just say that if you truly want to enjoy riding a bicycle in the wintertime in a wide range of snow conditions, you need to get a fat bike. I don't want to hear people leaving comments saying you can ride a regular mountain bike in the wintertime too. Well, sure, you can in an extremely narrow range of conditions. Okay, so I've had 5 years now on a fat bike, and before that I had been riding a regular mountain bike in the snow for 20 years. So I have seen every possible snow condition, ice condition you can possibly imagine on a regular mountain bike, and tried to ride in it with 2-inch tires, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5 inch tires. And yes, going to a wider tire made a small difference, but when I got my first fat bike, it was a revelation. Okay, a much wider variety of conditions became rideable and enjoyable to ride. So if you're interested in getting into riding in the wintertime, you need to get yourself a fat bike. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let me show you my Surly Moonlander. So this is kind of a first gen fat bike, and what I mean by that is what Surly tried to do with this is try to use as few fat bike specific parts as possible. So a lot of the parts on this are actually regular mountain bike parts. So the spacing on the front wheel I believe is 135, so it's the same width as a rear. On the front, or sorry, the rear again, it's also 135. So they've allowed you to use regular mountain bike parts. They didn't have to make specific fat bike components. Like obviously with through axles, 150 in the front. I mean, pretty much any decent fat bike you buy now is going to be 150 in the front. In the rear, there's a whole range of widths. Now, fat bikes, in terms of all the genres of bikes on the market right now, these are evolving the fastest, and every year there's something new, something new, something new. But honestly, I don't really feel the need to upgrade this bike right now, because what I'm interested in a fat bike is to have a fun bike that allows me to ride in the widest range of conditions possible, and this bike still allows that. And the reason being is it's pretty much the widest rim tire combo that you can get. So it uses 100mm wide, very dirty rim, the Surly Clown Shoe, and then we have a Surly Bud and Lou 4.8, so essentially 5-inch tires. So massive flotation. The other thing that gives you, so yeah, it gives you major flotation because the width of the rim, the fatness of the tire, you can run very low pressures. I'm running tubes right now. I haven't gone the tubeless route and probably won't until I get something that's actually specifically designed to be run tubeless. The other thing is rollover performance. Same as going from 26-inch to 27.5 to 29. Basically, going to the 100mm 5-inch, it actually has a wider or a larger outer diameter than the most common size, which would be an 80mm rim with a 4-inch tire. So you get better rollover performance, you can run lower pressure, so you get better cushioning, you have a larger contact patch, so you have better climbing grip, better cornering grip, better braking grip. The only downside is weight and increased rolling resistance. So if you're racing, yeah, you're probably not going to want to race on 5-inch tires with 100mm rims. But if you're looking for a bike that is an all-around bike that gives you the ability to ride in the widest range of conditions, spring, summer, winter, fall, then 5-inch 100mm rims is the way to go. So I have that rant over with. So I have 2 sets of tires. I live in Canada. We're a very small population country, especially compared to the States. Fat bike parts, if you buy them in Canada, are very expensive. The tires are extremely expensive. Okay, so these are the stock tires that came with the bike. They still have lots of life left in them because I mainly ride this bike in the winter time. I've only ridden it a few times this summer and had some really enjoyable rides with it, but I bought this fat bike specifically for winter use, for riding in the snow. So we had not a really nice winter last winter. In December, it ended up getting really warm, like above freezing, and it rained for a few days in a row, and then immediately it got really cold, like -20. So we had a flash freeze. So it was icy here for a while, and we had very little snow that fell on top initially. So going out and riding was extremely treacherous. So I went out and purchased myself some studded tires. So these are the 45 North Dillinger 5s. They call them 5-inch, but they are a much smaller diameter than the Bud and the Lou. But they basically allowed me to ride safely in those conditions. And then even when we got snow on top of that, basically underneath all of that snow was a base of sheer frozen solid ice. So I left these studded tires on all winter. And I mean, they're actually substantially lighter than the Bud and the Lou, even though they have studs. I think there's like 250 studs or something in each tire, and they are lower rolling resistance than the Bud and the Lou, and they still have adequate grip. So I'm not sure what's going to happen this winter, depending on the conditions. I may just throw those on and not use my Bud and Lou at all. But I went through the whole winter with these pretty much. Literally, they have in the winter I did over 3,000 over 3,000 kilometers of winter riding, and the studs have still plenty of life in them because if it's mostly ridden on snow, there's going to be very little wear. I do try to commute by bike quite often, and normally I would, but because of that icy condition, even the city streets, even the bike paths, there was a solid base of ice underneath for pretty much the whole winter. So I actually didn't commute as much as I wanted to, but hopefully that doesn't happen this winter. So I'll probably end up commuting quite a bit, and if I do with these tires, when we're dealing with city streets that have been plowed and exposed pavement, I expect I'm going to get way more wear on these tires this coming winter. And depending how icy it is, I may not feel the need to use the studs. But even with the studs, they're actually faster tires than the Bud and the Lou. The Bud and the Lou ultimately will have, on snow, will have more grip. It's a 2x10 system, so it's not a triple up front. It's a heavy bike. It's not a light bike. I see that Surly has a 1x Moonlander that they're offering. I don't think 1x works on bikes this heavy. The bikes that are sluggish like this. So even on my Krampus, which I will show you in one of the following videos, it's no longer a 1x. I have now upgraded it, and I consider it an upgrade to go by 2x10. So I don't think I've made that many changes to this bike. So it's an SLX front derailleur. It's an XT rear. I do believe I did upgrade the shifters, so they are XT shifters. They're higher end than what was on there. It uses a Surly OD crank, which is actually a crank designed to use with fatter tire combinations. So it is kind of a fat bike specific crank. You can use it on regular bikes, but there are design features about it that make it more compatible with fat bikes. But they're Avid BB7 brakes. Yeah, like cable actuated brakes. They work well. They have good stopping power. They just have little quirks and annoyances. They generally do rub quite a bit compared to hydraulics, and they're finicky to adjust. But once you get them adjusted, they work pretty well. So like I said, this is an older design, so this doesn't use a modern head tube size, so you can't run, say, the new RockShox Bluto, any tapered fork, basically, you can't run on this bike, so I'm kind of stuck with the rigid fork, which is fine. My next fat bike, I believe, will probably be an aluminum fat bike that I can put a Lauf. The Lauf does actually make a fat bike fork now, called the Carbonera. But again, I think I'll do at least another winter on this, and even after that, I'll probably still keep this bike. It does everything I needed. It is an exploring bike that allows you to get to a ride in a wide variety of snow conditions. So yeah, so what else can I say? I actually did a ride, I think 2 weekends ago. I used this bike. I did 5 hours, 90K on this fat bike. I really like the fact that it has the water bottle mounts on the fork. So I have a bottle there, bottle cage there. I had my frame bag. So for a really long day, I could actually fit 4 full-size bottles. And that ride I did was, I think it was between 25 and 30 Celsius. So it was a pretty warm day. So I did pretty much drink all of those fluids on the entire ride. Fat bikes, obviously they work best in the wintertime. They are enjoyable to ride in the summertime, especially on your trails. And the experience is different enough that the way I describe it is it's almost like a new way to experience the same trails that you've ridden on, because you basically ride them differently, especially with the super fat rim tire combination. You have to avoid things less. So basically roots, rocks, you don't have to pick your way around stuff. You can basically roll over, straight over things when you're running low pressure. Climbing, when you're climbing on a fat bike, you worry less about traction. There's so much traction that you don't have to look for the line, the smoothest line that has the most traction. You can just ride over stuff. And it's kind of a trade-off for the fact that the bike is heavy, but because all you have to do is pedal, and you're gonna it's very unlikely that you're gonna slip out. I mean, you just have so much traction, you can just concentrate on pedaling. So they almost kind of cancel each other out, having that extra weight on it. So yeah, I've been ranting about this. There just seems to be a lot of polarizing opinions on fat bikes and lots of negative opinions, especially when you're talking about riding them in the summer, because you can ride just fine without a fat bike in the summertime, but it's still a very enjoyable experience. Especially dealing with really rooty, rocky trails. A fat bike is super fun to ride in situations like that. And like my initial rant at the beginning of this video, if you truly want to enjoy riding in the wintertime, you need a fat bike. Yeah, I don't got pedals on here because I have so many bikes, I don't have enough clipless pedals to go around. So I think one of my bikes is always without pedals because I don't have a pair of clipless pedals to go on every single one of them. So yeah, this turned into a bit of a rant video, but yeah, so this is bike number 3 of my collection, the Surly Moonlander fat bike. I love it.